looking anything like this ever again. It won't look like this again in any of our lifetimes. So it's really important to have you here today. I'd like to thank particularly 3 councillors from the Shire of Yarra Ranges for being here today. Councillor Tim Heenan, Councillor Jeanette McRae from Hillsville Yarra Glen Ward, and Samantha Dunn. It's great to have councillors on side on an issue like this, and I'm sure you'll agree with me that councillors need to know that they've got community on side too, because sometimes they get criticised for some of the decisions that they take, and they need to know that we're right with them on those decisions, so good on them.
Yep.
Now, one of the issues that many of you know that I'm really interested in is climate change, and the climate's changed on us this morning. We do know that a warmer world is a wetter world, so that's not surprising, and these are the wet forests of the Central Highlands, so this weather is no surprise for us who know these forests and love them today. They're only here because of the high rainfall in this area. So bear that in mind, and I'd like to introduce now Luke Chamberlain, who is the Wilderness Society's forest campaigner, and he's going to say a few words. So thanks, Luke.
Yay!
Thank you, Steve. Thank you all for coming out here today. What you're gathering here is testament to the opposition to this state government's belligerent act of vandalism here today. What we see here is about 1/5 of an area of forest here in the Central Highlands logged. I want to take your minds up a little bit and multiply this out by 5 times and then another 400 times. What we see here is a systemic problem. It's not just where we're standing today. Across the state of Victoria, the most carbon-dense forests on the face of the planet, homes to a myriad of endangered species, and just forests that the community like you love, are being destroyed for wood chips, mainly to make reflex paper. And the question that you all know the answer to, but it seems like Premier Ted Baillieu doesn't know the answer to, is that good enough? Well, the answer is obviously no. The state government of Victoria has a blank piece of paper for an environmental policy to allow bulldozers to go into these forests against your will, damaging the habitat and further pushing the leadbeater's possum to extinction. Polluting the atmosphere and contributing to climate change is simply not good enough. This act of vandalism must stop, and you people standing here today is testament to stopping that. It's unfortunate that the public has to come out in the middle of winter, in the middle of the cold, in the middle of the rain, to say no to these bulldozers, to say no to the belligerence of Vic forests, to say no to the greed of Australian paper that makes reflex paper, when there's enough alternatives, when there's more jobs in plantations to provide community jobs, regional jobs. There's more wood in plantations to provide all of our wood needs. But this publicly owned forest is being trashed for wood chips for a few cents per tonne, and it's not good enough. So good on you for all coming out here today. Unfortunately, you're the ones who are going to have to make change, but I can tell you we will. We will not stand up to this government pushing bulldozers into your favourite patch of bush. And we will stand beside you as the local community until this stops. Until the politics is removed from this issue and the Premier finally has the courage, somewhere hidden in a drawer in his office, to come out here and act and stop this. Because at the moment, this Premier is showing no spine. This is the International Year of the Forests. This is an international embarrassment that this is happening in our backyard. So good on every one of you for being here today. I can't see the Premier here. I can't see Vic Forests here. I can't see the CEO of Australian Paper here, but you are here, and good on you for coming.
Yeah.
I'm just going to also pass you over, if it's okay, to another local, Sarah Reese, who's been just an absolute stalwart in opposing and standing up for these forests, to come and have a chat from a local perspective. For 10 years, Sarah and another just group of just courageous locals have been standing up to this and being ignored by the community, ignored by the government, ignored by the powers that be, but we are going to change that power. Okay? We're seeing change in Tasmania of all places, where industry groups and environmentalists and communities just like us are all coming together to end the conflict. What do we have in Victoria? We have this. We have the conflict escalating. We have the community having just to stand up in arms against this sort of thing. So I'm just going to hand you over to Sarah to say a few words about the values in these forests, and thanks for being here in the rain today.
I actually think it's really important that I let you all know this. 2 weeks ago we raised with government that we considered that the level and scale of forestry taking place in the forest left over after Black Saturday is of considerable worry. More to the point, we raised the issue that logging practices were not compliant with what we call a sustainability charter. That is, they are not supposed to create extinction. They are not supposed to impact on our water. And in fact, what we alleged is that they are, and we have CSC's own science supporting that. We raised this with the state government and Vic Forests. What we found out yesterday is the very clause that binds these operations to the Sustainability Charter, which is an international treaty for which Australia is one of the signatories, has just been removed. That is, our concerns were not investigated, the issue was not investigated, it has slipped off now of the only clause that binds these operations to sustainability. It is now the case that Victoria has removed itself from an international treaty in the year of forests, as Luke has said, and we are now running a fairly renegade operation with no balance and measures, and in fact the only performance indicator for this has shown extinction, water loss, degradation, soil loss, changes to climate, etc. So we have a situation on our hands where things have become incredibly renegade, and we've had to take things into our own hands and come out to this event like today. And I imagine there will be more, and it's up to Ted Value, as Luke has said, to come and address the people of these regions who don't want it. The community doesn't want it. Victorians don't want it. There was a poll done in late 2008 that found 65% of Victorians wanted their catchments protected for water. This has just been ignored by successive governments. With a new government comes new opportunities, and potentially Mr. Value will come out and do something on this, but it's going to be up to all of us to do what we can to bring his intelligence up to date on these matters. So I welcome you all today, and there will be more events such as in Warburton. Equally we have problems with their logging, and further to Bawbor. So I think this issue, as Lucas said, is not just site specific to Toolangi, but as I can see from a lot of familiar Toolangi faces here, a lot of people who defended these forests against Black Saturday, to find themselves out here now defending them against the loggers, I'm sure is a very uncomfortable place for them to be in. So thank you all for coming, and I urge you all to continue with your strong letters and strong words to government. So, thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. I've spent most of the last week at the 4 Degrees or More conference down at Melbourne University, and let me tell you, a 4 degrees warmer world is not a place any of us would want to live in. In fact, most of us won't, because it doesn't have the carrying capacity of the current planet. But something happened during that conference that I'd like to sort of bring to this meeting today. It was just a simple question that was asked, and that was, how many of you feel that you actually have a better life than your grandparents did? Just put a hand up. Yeah? Do you have a better life than your grandparents did?
Maybe not.
And how many of you feel that your grandchildren will have a better life than you?
None.
Is that acceptable?
No.
Is that what we want for our grandchildren?
No, we don't.
I don't think so. And at the conference too, the same result, and it was Hans-Joachim Schellenhuber who asked that question, one of the top minds on climate change in the world, and he said he gets the same response every time he puts that question at every meeting in every country on every continent. He gets that same response. We're the generation that's going to make the difference, and by being here today you're helping to make that difference, so thank you for coming.
Steve, can we say a few words?
Yeah.
Isn't Julia Gillard releasing her carbon tax advertising campaign?
The campaign starts on TV tonight. Samantha